And just like that, you are back listening to Shreya and Maral and Red, White, and Brown with Live on Radio Zindagi, 1550 AM.
आप सुन रहे हैं 1550 AM रेडियो जिंदगी पर श्रेया और मिराल को Live के Red, White and Brown show पर. And now we are going to talk about a series that we absolutely love. It is called Abhay 3. And Shreya, you watched it.
I did. So if you guys haven't watched Abhay season 1 and 2, the main character is someone named Abhay. And in season 3, he's facing this new unknown threat. It's basically like some dark force, and it's like exploiting everybody, beyond belief. And of course, something's going down as usual. So he is tracking down like more than one entity of like criminal justice. So he's like looking for clues to figure out, okay, who's behind all of these cases, because he doesn't believe it's just one person. It's like multiple different things that are connected. Sadly, though, in this whole process of him, being a legal entity, he also has tons and tons and tons of home life problems. And his like whole issue is that he just has tons of, how do I want to explain it? Like not inner trauma, but like things just happening to personal situations in his life where that makes him feel insanely hunted at the same time that he is, going out and hunting all of these people. So the season just kind of follows that chase of where he's trying to work out his home life, his personal life, at the same time that he's trying to track down who else is causing a lot of, actual criminal issues out in the world. And it was produced by Z5. It is like an original Indian Hindi film, which we work really closely with Z5. So we were happy to get a sneak peek, early view into what they were doing. And what did you think about it, Em?
Well, I spoke to Kunal. I interviewed him much before the show was released, and we spoke a little bit more about his character then. And of course, Kunal, probably Kunal Kemmu is. I said we're going to talk about another underrated actor in the show, and he is probably the most underrated actor coming from the Indian content scene. Absolutely love his performance, especially he's consistently kept evolving his character of Abhay Pratap Singh through the seasons. You will see him less tormented in season 1 than he is in season 2. It just gets worse and worse as he gets into the minds of more criminals. His mental health does get affected. He gets these premonitions. He starts getting, traumatic attacks. And then, of course, he has this really troublesome relationship with his own son, which he just cannot control anymore. And his son is going down a very dark path as well. And between all of the personal stuff that's going on in his life, he just tries to keep his professional life as professional as possible, trying to get into the mind of criminals around him, and it is not an easy job.
Yes.
And just like
specialty as an investigating officer, if you haven't watched season 1 and 2, he's an investigating officer that's known for sitting into the mind of a criminal really, really well.
Absolutely. And now in this season, more than season 1 and season 2, in this season, it is affecting, it's making him more brooding. It's making him darker. It's literally, you can see his body language change. And when we spoke about to Kunal about the evolution of his character, he said that he had worked on this. He had worked on the fact that he's carrying a lot more burden in season 3 than he was in season 2, of course. And you see that change in the way he's talking, the modality of his voice, the way his voice accentuates and loses interest, how he looks at things, and how quickly he's able to decipher things because of the experience that he's gained in getting in minds of criminals. But the 3rd season of this crime series, of course, is written by Sudhanshu Sharma, Deepak Das, Srinivas Ebrol, and Shubham Sharma, just like the past 2 seasons. And again, in this season, he effortlessly carves out this brooding detective who's haunted by his past and the propensity to resort to extra legal means in doing what he does to get to the bottom of the crime and the criminals. He absolutely keeps that intact, but he also evolves it. in a very big way. So over here in season 3, again, his personal and professional life intermingle, and of course he has to turn his attention to 5 unsolved highway crimes. And I think the first one starts with right in season 2, we see the social influencers. Oh, that was scary. That was scary stuff. What did you think about that, Shreya?
I actually didn't watch season 1 and season 2. I
No,
skipped
the second
3.
episode of season 3, the social influences.
No, yeah, I was getting to that. So I had heard through the grapevine that when he was when the main character was in season 1 and season 2, there was actually some foreshadowing that he was going to get involved with like web-based cases, and I don't know exactly where that is because I haven't seen it. But in episode 2, he follows this like crime. We don't want to give it away, but he follows the crimes of some social influencers, and it's crazy because up until then, I had not seen him resort to like, I guess like getting into the minds of like really young, hip Gen Z style like crimes, which was crazy. And so I was like trying to watch this old character switch into the new norms. But like it was really in this, like I felt like I was kind of low-key having my mind read just a little bit, because he's going through this idea of like what makes someone, you know, like portray their lives in certain ways, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, do I do this? Like as a social media, I was like, as a social media influencer, do I do that? Like, do I think that deeply about these things, or is it just so ingrained in me that I don't think twice about it, and I'm not thinking to question it until he does? It was crazy.
Okay, top 3 scenes in this entire series. I think my first scene was when he goes between the 2 social media influencers, right? That entire scene of him trying to interrogate the 2 of them, setting them up against each other, where, you know, oh my God, that's so beautifully done. I thought that was a really good scene because he actually understands the psychology so well. You know, when they let her go, and she immediately gets on to...
Yeah, she immediately gets on. It's just... Wait, I will rate that as my top one too. I like the whole social media episode in general, and I think that I had some trouble, like, of course, following the season just a little bit because I didn't watch season 1 and 2. I keep reiterating it for everyone, but like that social media episode, man, I watched some scenes like a couple times just because I was like, he is like, whoever wrote this, my question is, whoever wrote this, like, how much time do you spend on social media? How many influencers have you interviewed in order to get this scene right? Because like, how does the cop get in the heads of these 2? And he pits them up against each other, which is actually kind of hilarious. I will not lie. And then you're right. She like gets on phone. She like, the first thing she does is her lifeline is like her social media accounts. And I'm like,
that's her identity. That's her whole thing. That's her being. If without them, she doesn't exist.
And I'm like kind of guilty of it. I'm so guilty of it. I wake up, first thing I do is I check my phone. I like every couple hours, I check my phone. Like someone follows me, I check my phone. And by that, I don't mean just like notifications, guys. I'm like, I shift between all the apps. I check my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, my TikTok. Like, yeah, I even check my like Snapchat sometimes in case I've gotten like a new ad. It's not like I reply to anybody. I'm just like constantly watching. I'm constantly watching things. And do you have any influencer tendencies? I kind of want to know.
Me?
Yes.
No, I used to, but I detoxified myself, and now I literally do not. I mean, I have work hours where I don't even get notifications, and sometimes when you're texting me, I don't get notifications unless WhatsApp is open on my laptop and I'm working. I see it. If not, I'm not seeing phone calls. If you're calling me in working hours, I will not pick you up. If you're texting me in working hours, I will not respond, because during working hours, all the way till 5 o'clock at night, I don't check my phone.
What? You're joking.
I'm not joking. I don't check my phone.
Guys, she's one step ahead of the curve. She's going to be one of those people.
I had to detox because I was married. I'm married to my devices. I was married to my device, literally, on my couch. So I had to literally detoxify myself. And now I get my phone on work mode at 9 a.m. in the morning, and it stays on work mode till 5. So 9 to 5, I'm not on the phone. And even if it's urgent or whatever, if it's urgent, you know where to find me.
Yeah, that's true.
You know my alternative number. You know how to get to me. But if it's not urgent, if whatever, it will stay in queue all the way till 5 o'clock. 5 is the time when I actually check everything. And that's when I start replying to people. Half an hour, I give it, I cleanse everything, then I go back to work.
That's insane. She's a whole new breed.
You have
I wish
no
I could
idea
get there.
how much mental health I've grabbed back because of that. That's one. Secondly, how much work I get done. I'm so much more productive because I don't just check my phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because guys, if you want to talk to me, set up a time to talk to me. That way, I'm managing my stuff better. I'm managing my work better. I'm managing my attention better. Because of a random phone call, if I had to walk out of my work at any point in time, it takes me so much longer to get back to it, to get back to that kind of productivity and attention.
I see
it
that.
Doesn't work for me because there's only so much time I can give to my work because I want to do other stuff too.
Oh, right? We love it.
Absolutely. So I'm just a little organized. It doesn't mean that I'm off the internet. It doesn't mean I'm off social media. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not cutting off myself from the world. I'm just organizing myself in a way where my productivity is higher.
And I really wish I was that way. I think that as soon as you start making social media a bit of a career, which unfortunately actually, I wouldn't say unfortunately, it's led to some great opportunities, but like.
Yeah, but Shreya, you can make it a career in an organized way instead of checking.
Oh, that's not me. That's so not me. You know, I'm mindlessly scrolling on Instagram every break I get. Like, you know.
Of course I do. Whenever I get to log in, I see those messages.
Yeah, she sees those messages. Okay.
So top second one. I'll tell you. Which one? Which one is your second one?
I would say the Infinity Killer thing, where
that's scary. That's Vijay Raaz.
Yeah, where the cult gets put into like that dangerous, like they end up part of that like whole plan, and then he comes out and he's like, oh yeah, I've like protected the whole city or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of like when you're reading Harry Potter and you've gotten up to the 7th book, but you're reading like part 1 of the 2-part ending. That's how it feels like. Is that a 6th book?
I thought you know, with if I have to place Vijay Raaz and his performance, Vijay Raaz plays Anand, who's a sociopath. He also calls himself Mrityu for some reason here. So I think the opening, you know, the resonant sepulchral voice of Anand, where he has a philosophy around how death should be embraced because it hinges on the belief that termination of life is the only means of escape from mental and physical pain of human existence, right?
I forget that one. What?
That entire scene was so scary because of the way Vijay Raaz delivered that scene. It was so real and crazy. And he kept saying, "Mrityu nahi mukti milegi," not death but liberation. Yeah. And you know, the victims are carefully targeted and sometimes even random. But death is actually for them, death is deliverance. It's not death. They're actually redefining death as deliverance. We're actually helping you get rid of all the pain that you're undergoing in the life. So the psychology of the guy, again, I thought that was so well written in terms of just that character and his psychology.
I am going to put that on my top 3 list. I will actually switch that to my second, and then I will put the Infinity Killer where he meets the Mithu's cult. Like, I will put that at 3rd.
Okay. Another scene which I absolutely loved was Nidhi Singh, the Khushbu, right? The cop, the junior police officer, who was actually following his trail to see how that reporter who's Ashanegi, right? Got married, got killed.
I love the female characters in this show. They're like quite a bit of a
quite something. But the way that, you know, when she interrogates Abhay, Kunal Kemmu's character, and he asks her for a coffee. and he just sits there and he actually takes her entire evidence and he trashes it one by one by one.
He does.
And
That's a power move and a half.
logically, and she hasn't even thought of those things in her. So it just shows you how experienced and how good he is in terms of thinking through stuff, and how inexperienced and how juvenile she is when she creates a case against him.
The confidence he has in himself.
Like he actually takes her entire the premise of her entire case against him, and he shreds it in front of her, and she doesn't know how to react because it's all logically done. So I thought that was great writing as well, and it was great execution of the scene because it's one dark room, it's her and him, and it's just a conversation. And he's very cool about the conversation. There's no raising of voice. He doesn't even bother with spending his energy even a tad bit more than what he has to. He destroys her, totally destroys her. So I thought that was another good one.
I agree with that. I do. And with that, what would you rate the overall season?
I absolutely love it. In all the crime thriller series we've seen so far, I think it's one of the most superlative ones. Some of the shots are really amazing. You know, the shots of Delhi Chandigarh highway? How good are those shots, those drone shots of the highway?
I think in general, I have seen drone shots in both series and movies, but especially in series, become a lot better. I guess people are just investing in quality drone like video work, because I see landscapes all the time that I'm like, wow, these are stunning.
The VFX are great. The photography is amazing. You know, the dark brooding angles, you know, the supernatural ones, that entire art direction of Mrityu. It's so, oh God, it's so foreboding. You actually feel the chill with the guy, and he's a sociopath. He's psycho, for God's sake. The cult followers and the way the cult followers come forward, everything is done so well. I actually found this series very, very, very well written. I found it really well executed and very well acted. I think in all three departments, it just is a grade A+.
I will agree with that. However, I will also say I am somebody who doesn't enjoy like darker content in general. I will still give it like an A+ because it was so phenomenally made. However, I am not the target audience for this series because I just like, I get scared by everything, like literally everything.
I love thrillers. I will do anything for thrillers. I am a crime thriller person, and I will do anything for crime thrillers. Anywhere I see a thriller, I'll go watch it. This was just amazing. I loved it. It was another really eminently watchable season from Abhay. We can't wait for season 4 because they did leave it hanging.
So they announced a season 4, or like
there's gonna be, because of the way it ended. There's so much to be told. I mean, what happened to the ball now?
Well, with that, we're going to give you you should definitely watch season 3. If you haven't watched season 1 and 2 like me, you should go watch those again, or you should go back and watch those as well to set you up for success for season 3, because clearly there's going to be a season 4. So are we listening to anything on our way out, Em?
We are. We're listening to Mast Nazaro Se Rochakoli featuring Jubin Nautiyal. And there we go. I'm sliding it in right now.
We hope you love that song, because we definitely did. And we just want to remind you one last time for this episode that you are listening to Maral and Shreya, and we are giving you Red, White, and Brown by Desi Live on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM.
आप सुन रहे थे रेडियो जिंदगी 1550 AM पे मिराल और श्रेया को देसी लाइव के रेड ब्राउन एंड ब्राउन शो पे. And with that, we're gonna say bye to you. आपको अगले हफ्ते मिलते हैं with new movies and new shows to talk about. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye.
Signing off.